Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Kirsten here and welcome back. Thank you for joining me today for this new episode of A Better Way with Kirsten podcast. On this podcast, we're talking about overcoming chronic sensations, something called TMS, where the problems that you feel in your body, the aches and pains and other sensations are actually not coming from physical cause, but they're coming from your brain and nervous system. You're probably too stressed. You're maybe not showing your emotions. You're way too scared. So this is why you have these sensations and symptoms. And if you want to learn more about this, then go ahead and check out the older episodes. I've talked about it a lot on this podcast. But in this podcast episode today, we're going to continue with the four-part series that we started last time. If you listened to the last episode, you know already what I'm talking about. So I am really big into strength training, and I want you all to get started with strength training, even if you have TMS right now, even if you might be thinking, there's no way I can do this. I want you to get started with it because strength training is such a powerful tool, not only helping your physical body to get stronger, but also getting your mindset stronger. And when your mindset is stronger and you are confident, then your TMS actually can get better too. It absolutely can. Go back and listen to the previous episode where I talked about it. It is linked in the show notes as well. And the reason why I want you to do strength training isn't so that you're going to fix your physical pain by doing strength training, because you should know that your physical pain is not coming from physical source. So muscle strengthening is not going to take your TMS away. But what it can do it is empowering you. It can empower you, and by doing strength training, you're going to show your brain that I am strong, I am capable, I can do this. And of course, strength training has so many physical health benefits as well, which I went over in the last episode. So please go ahead and go back to that episode to check that out before you listen to this one. I have created a quiz, which I'm really excited about. And this quiz will help you to figure out what is your biggest fear that is holding you back and not letting you get started with strength training. And I really want you to go ahead and take that quiz. It's, of course, completely free. You can find the link to that quiz in the show notes. Go check it out. There's 7 questions that I'm asking you to answer. And then once you do it, you're going to find out what is your biggest fear. And when you click on that more details button, you'll see exactly what I mean when you go to that quiz. When you click on that button, you're going to get a mini training that will dive deeper into your fear and offering you solutions too. We're not only talking about what the problem is, we're also going to talk about solutions. So go check out that video too. That will help you. And after you've taken this quiz and you feel like, okay, I really want to get started with strength training. I just need to know how to do this. And I don't want to overdo it. I want to make sure this is like good and appropriate and safe for me. Then my beginner level program, Train to Build Starter, is a good fit for you. Check it out. Also, this is linked to the show notes. And if you sign up before September 22nd, then you can get $10 off with the code September. Check it out. Also, definitely go ahead and read other people's experiences. You can go and do it on the same link. So go there, see what other people who had TMS have said about this program. And that should really help you see that you can do this too. You absolutely can do this too. So I hope you find and check out these resources, both of them, the quiz, and then if you're interested in taking the next step and getting actually started with strength training. By the way, this Train to Build Starter program is body weight and bands only, totally doable for you. So if you want to do that, then check out that link in the show notes as well. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Like I mentioned in the last episode, then I have found that people who have TMS and who have been wanting to get back to strength training but haven't yet, they have certain fears. And I have found 4 main fears that people have. And in the first episode, we talked about the first one, which is this: if I start strength training, then I'm going to make my TMS worse. And I talked about that. I also gave you an example from real life. So I hope that you check out this one. And today we're moving on to the next fear that I also see sometimes in people. And this fear is this: I don't want to repeat the bad workout experiences that I had in the past, right? So if your past experiences with working out weren't so great, you may be terrified to start again. And here are some of the things that you may have done before, that you may have experienced in the past when it comes to exercise. And these things are now causing you to be very like careful about starting exercise again. So if you had some uncomfortable, not pleasant workout experience in the past, these things may have happened. So first thing, maybe you did a lot of high intensity or super fast workouts that always left you exhausted, depleted, and like you had no energy for anything else. Maybe you did a lot of group fitness classes, which, can be fun, but they're not for everybody. And they may not be your thing because you just don't enjoy group settings. You don't like loud music, all these lights. You don't like to be in a group setting, the group class. You don't like to have all these people around you. Maybe you don't like the instructor who's like very enthusiastic sometimes. Maybe this is not your thing, but you used to like a lot of group fitness and now you're thinking, okay, if I have to go back to that, I just don't want to do strength training. The other thing that may have happened was that the workouts that you used to do in the past, they always kept your nervous system on high alert and you felt anxious often because you just couldn't bring yourself back to this like calm and present state afterwards. Or you just did way too much exercise. And I'm raising my hand here. This is like my story, 100%, because you thought that you have to train for an hour or more every day of the week. So it just got so tired. And I want you to know that there's a better way to work out than this. And you can actually get better results when you slow down, right? So you change the workouts. And this is exactly like my own story too. Like I had to slow down and become more intentional with like how I move, how I do my strength training, instead of like rushing around, pushing the intensity, going super fast all the time. And then I often also felt like my nervous system was on such high alert. And it wasn't that like I developed TMS because I broke something in my body when doing all this exercise, but it was the pressure. It was the pressure, like pushed myself so hard and I made myself do these like very intense things and I never really caught a break. And I just like kind of like addicted. And this was not good for me. And I just like, this is the type of fears that I would like identify with the most because sometimes people think that okay, if this is what strength training looks like, I don't want to do this. And if this is what it takes, like this is not for me. So if this is the type that you feel like, okay, this is me, I want to give you an example, like I did in the last episode too. Like if you have this fear, like, okay, I don't want to repeat the past workout experience that were not so good at all. I don't want to do this again. So if this sounds like you, or the quiz tells you that this is your main fear, then I want to give you an example from real life, from somebody who changed it and started doing it differently and got better. And this person is actually myself. So, like I said, I'm going to share my own personal experience when I'm going over this fear and kind of going over the progress and the process, like how it went for me and how I've been able to do strength training and now quite a bit of strength training with pretty nice weights when I just dropped this like intensity mindset and started focusing more on like more intentional, slow, focused movement, more like silent workouts and just like calming my system down. And that didn't mean that I have to like drop strength training. I just did it differently. Okay, so a little bit more about myself and my own personal experience. I'm going to tell you what my TMS sensations were, what was my main fear, how I overcame it, and all that. So first, I want to tell you that I'm definitely an overdoer and overachiever when it comes to exercise and some other things too. Not all of the things, like I'm not the person who has to have like everything like super like 100% perfect and like overdo in every area of life. I have plenty of areas of my life where I'm just like letting things go. I don't care. I'm not like obsessive like that in everything, but when it comes to fitness and work, these are the things where I like have this strong tendency, right? So what a coincidence that I ended up with TMS, isn't it? And so for years, I just kept burning myself out with just like doing too much. And the workouts that I did definitely added to my anxiety for sure. So, what were my TMS sensations then? Well, lower back pain has been the main one for sure. Different sensations there like tightness, stabbing, sometimes very heavy feeling in the back. So this has been the main one. But over the years, I've also had different ones. So I remember when my TMS really started, I also had this really weird pain in like in my ribs or like front side of my ribs, like chest, upper arm, and ribs, like this general area here. And I remember like running to the chiropractor and being like, "Oh my God, what's going on? Why am I aching so bad?" And it was like, "Oh, you have like terrible like misalignment in your ribs." I was like, "Okay, this scary message. I'm sure you've had something similar. Like so you hear something like, "Holy shit, like my ribs are misaligned." They were not. It was just TMS. Then also I had some tingling and numbness in my arm. I don't remember. I think it was like my left arm. It doesn't matter. But for a while, I wore this like elbow protection when I was sleeping, and I thought this might help. Of course, it was all TMS, the same BS, right? And then I've also had lots of insomnia and anxiety. I've had extreme period pain. And then I've also had some calf and ankle pain and a little bit of shoulder pain. So all these other ones have been like relatively minor, but the lower back pain has been like the most like biggest thing for me. And sometimes it still wants to come and visit. So I've had recently, I had just not too long ago, like I don't know, maybe a month ago, I had something coming up in my like ankle and my calf. And was like, this is just such a joke because I didn't do anything. I was just like walking, living my normal life, didn't do any like anything crazy at all. And it just started hurting. And I was like, you know what? I know so well what you are. I'm not gonna spend my time on you. I'm just gonna walk on you. And then I started walking, and I was like, no, 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 actually, I'm gonna run on you. And so it's just like running on it, and I still tried to kind of like, get my attention. And I was like, okay, you're here, that's fine. And whatever, I'm just going to keep running because you can be here and I can still run at the same time. And it took, I don't know, a couple, 2, 3 days, and then it just went away. And sometimes like stuff happens. I think even if you, like when you make like a recovery, you can still have these things. And they're like little signals that, something's up, right? What's going on? But not in a physical body, but just maybe with your stress or your emotions or something like that. And there's really no reason to like worry. So these were my TMS sensations, and my main fear, right, was this when it comes to exercise. So I was thinking, like when I did all this intense stuff, I was thinking, like, do I have to keep working out so much for the rest of my life, and accept that being exhausted and anxious is just the price that I have to pay for it? So I did so much, like for example, for years, I had made myself to like run for hours every day, and then do high intensity workouts every day, and while I always loved exercise, like I really truly love movement, I am that person who needs it, who craves it, who really finds a lot of joy in exercise. I would be lying if I told you that I enjoy torturing myself this way. Because like I said, I was anxious and tired and always felt guilty when I took a rest day. And eventually I just couldn't do this anymore. It was just like too much. I was like too tired and too tense. And so I realized I have to just change something. So how I overcame this was I learned about slow and focused and intentional strength training. And I stopped all of the intense stuff for a while. Okay, so now, much later, I have started kickboxing. I started it in January, so that's like 9 months ago. I started doing it, been very consistent with it, and I can handle it now. But there was a period of time, like several years, when I was like, I'm not going to do any of the high intensity stuff because it just doesn't feel good. It feels like it's too much. It's like keeping me on high alert, and like I'm staying there for like so long after the workout, and my body just felt fried. I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I started taking a lot more rest days. I trusted that this will be more sustainable for me. Like, take more rest, listen to yourself. When do you need rest? Take rest. And this is how it should be. You don't have to like earn your rest. Like, this is always my way of thinking. And back when I had like serious like eating problems too, like disordered eating habits, I also thought I have to like earn my food and I had to earn my rest, and all these is like completely gone. Like I don't have any of that anymore. So now I rest when I need it. And all this has been a lot more sustainable for me. So how am I doing now? uh as I started just like resting more and focusing on traditional strength training, not the high intensity stuff, not doing like 7 million reps per minute, like getting through things as fast as possible. Oh my God, the clock's ticking. Can't, like, it was like so anxiety producing. Now I'm moving a lot slower. I'm using a lot heavier weights, by the way. I've been doing this for a while. And I'm so much stronger than I've ever been. I can deadlift a good amount of weight. So this is the exercise where you lift the barbell off the floor. So I can lift 250 pounds now. I can squat and I can bench press. I can do like all the exercise that I want. And I'm much calmer. I'm much more present. And for the most part, I don't feel this urgency and this anxiety that I used to feel when I used to train super hard all the time. And if I get a sensation in my back, like sometimes I still do, I don't look for like, oh, what did I do wrong? Like, was it this exercise or was it this movement? I look at my stress and my emotions. So this is where these back sensations sometimes when I pop up and say like, hello, like you haven't been taking a break, right? And like I said, I tend to have this habit of like overdoing when it comes to work. Like there can be a day when I just like, I keep going and going, going, working, and then it's been like several hours. I'm like, oh, I haven't taken a break. And then I check in with my like internal system and it's like, yes, it's definitely a little bit more on high alert than it's good for me. So this is like really a signal that, yeah, you haven't taken a break. Like you need to give yourself a break, like mental break. And this is where I like to do like full body meditations, relaxations, like where you let your body go like completely loose and relax and try to clear your mind. This really always helps. But of course, it's so much better that I don't like let myself get to the point where my back is starting to talk to me. But I want to do this like to prevent this. So anyway, this is how I changed like my workout approach. I come from this very like do a lot, do intense, do like as much as you can mentality to let's slow down, let's do less, let's go actually a little bit heavier. But if you're listening to this right now and you're new, like, oh, I can't go heavy, I can't lift like 250 pounds, you don't have to. You can get started with body weight training. And this is what my program Train to Build Starter is for. And it is exactly like I describe to you here. Like it's slow, it has breaks. You don't have to like go, go, go. It is intentional. You're going to feel your muscles instead of doing like as many reps as you can in like 1 minute. This is not true strength training when you do it this way. Honestly, it's not. A lot of people think that, oh, that's true strength training. It's not. It's cardio. So if you want to get truly strong, you have to slow down. You have to get intentional. You have to think about what you're doing. You have to be mindful as you're doing it. This is how you do strength training. So if you want to check out my program, Train to Build Starter, check it out now. So go to the link in the description. Also, the quiz is there. But if you want to get the Train to Build Starter program, then use the code September. This code will give you $10 off. And the code expires on September 22nd. So make sure that you get this program before that. And of course, definitely take the quiz. I want to know what your result was. Like which one of these four fears resonated the most with you. So go check it out, take the quiz, watch the mini training that comes with the quiz, and then get going. All right, this is all I have for you for today. We have 2 more episodes in this series, and we have 2 more fears to go over and get over. So I'll see you again in the next episode. Take care.